In this video, we're going to show you how to make a linear programming problem, just kind of a little nicer. So I'm assuming you know how to do inequalities on here. So I have 3 inequalities set up, and I kind of set my window up to fit those. So we're just going to click on those, and obviously you can kind of see the common region that they have. Now, one thing I would do, just make it a little bit nicer and simple, is make them all the same color. It seems to be easier to tell what region you have if they're the same color. So I'm just going to make them this lighter color. So it's real easy to see what those are. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually put points on that feasible region so we know where they are. So we're going to click on the points. And these are all for our feasible region that we have. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to actually make those points. So we're going to come over here. And hopefully we wrote those down, so you have to write them down because they do disappear. And we're going to add a folder. I like to just keep them organized. And we're just going to put points. And then we're going to put all those points on there. Use parentheses, 0, 1600 was the first point. And we'll label that. And I'm going to make that black. Now I'm going to do that for all my points. So I'll come back to the video once I have that done. So again, I added all the points onto the graph so you can see those better. I am assuming that we have to be, x has to be greater than 0 and y has to be greater than 0 also. So the reason I put them in folders over here too is so I can collapse those and you don't have to see those. It just makes it a little bit nicer by adding that folder. So next thing I do is I'm going to make it a little bit nicer by using the curly brackets and putting some restrictions on here. So the first one we do is just put x is greater than 0. And I'll also then put y has to be greater than 0. So we have to put those in 2 sets of curly brackets. So then you can kind of see how it restricted that one. I'm going to take these off so you can kind of see that. So just that triangle. What you can do then to make this go a little bit quicker is you can just copy and paste those restrictions on. So now again, it looks a little bit nicer already, but we're going to make it look what I think is even better. So next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to come on and we're going to restrict these each inequality, the x value, so they're only the region you want. So on the first one, again, I'm going to kind of turn these off. If you notice, I only want it from x equals 0 to x equals 1500, so in between those 2 regions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to change my restrictions on your x to 0 is less than or equal to x, x less than equal to 1500. So I got that little point there, or that little region. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this next one. I'm going to turn this one on. I'm going to pick it up at 1500. I'm going to go to 2300. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make 1500 is less than x, less than or equal to 2300. And we have that little region. Then we're going to do the same thing for this one. We're going to pick it up where we left off. So 2300 is less than x is less than or equal to 2750. And I messed up somewhere in there. Oops, I didn't turn it on. There we go. Now we have it turned on. So now you actually have your feasible region, and it's really nice and easy to see. Now, if you notice, all my y's are greater than 0, and that's not always the case. So we're going to come in here, and now we're going to just add another equation. 5x plus 5y is greater than or equal to 10,000. Okay. So now we have a little bit different problem. So now we can't really use that y is greater than all the time. So this is going to be a little bit more of an issue. So what we're going to do then for this one is, first off, we're going to come and change our points. So we're going to come here, and we need this point on here now. Ooh, that's not quite it. Let's see if we can get that to come up there. It should be Okay, for some reason, I can get this intersection point nice and easy, but I can't get this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to my original one up here, and I'm going to take these restrictions off. And now I can see that point nice and easy. So I'm going to take out this point and add these two. So I'm going to come to my points. I'm going to take out the 0, 1600 and add the 2000 thirds, comma 4000 thirds. And I'm going to add my other point, which was 2000, comma 0. Add my label. And collapse those points again. So I don't have to see those. So you can now see that there is this issue here. I need to change my restrictions quite a bit. So what's kind of strange about this is Desmos doesn't really let you use f of x with inequalities, but we're going to rewrite this equation in terms of f of x. So we're going to solve it for y and just write f of x equals, we have 2000 minus x. So that's that equation just rewritten. Okay, so we're going to take this one off, and we're going to see what we can do to make those our new restrictions on here. I went ahead and added those restrictions back onto the original equation just so it was like we had before. So now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to go back and expand this so you guys can see this a little bit nicer. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to change these restrictions on my y, because I don't want this first equation here to be greater than or equal to 0. I don't want this first equation to be y needs to be greater than f of x. So now you can see it did that region. Over here, it's not greater than f of x, so it took that part off. Same thing with this one. Now you'll also be a little bit of an issue on this one. So I'm going to make it y greater than f of x. It's referring to this f of x down here, which I rewrote this equation, just solving for y. But if you notice, it added this region down below. So that's definitely an issue. That extra parenthesis. So what we're going to do is we are going to just hit enter, and we're going to add a new line, just copy and paste this. We got the same thing over. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to change this restriction on the x so it's just at 2000. So right here where it drops off. And then we're going to change this one, just basically making a piecewise function. We're going to make this from 2000 to 2300. And then we're going to put this one back at y equals 0. Now you can see our graphs a little bit nicer. You can see our region. The last thing I'd like to do on this one is just we're going to add all our equations in so we can kind of see our original equations, what they look like. So we're just going to put in that x plus 2.5y equals 4,000. So we can kind of see those equations. That should be 2.5. And then we'll put in the other ones. I'm going to pause that while I do that so you don't have to watch. So now, again, I added all our original equations, and then you can kind of see our feasible region and all the points that make up our feasible region. So then you have your linear programming done. And you can do as much as you want with this. This is just if you maybe had to do a presentation and wanted to put it in some kind of slide presentation or something like that for your teacher, whoever you're doing this for. You do have one issue when if you share the graph, the points don't come out for some reason. Also, if you look at it, looks like that part's not filled in, but if you zoom in on it, it is. It's just kind of a glitch in Desmos, I believe. So some of that looks like you have to get good view, but the easiest way is to do a screenshot to get that out. So I hope that was helpful. Just make your linear programming look a little prettier. Again, you can put as much work and effort into that as you'd like to.